So I think complete individualistic freedom is not the most ideal way to live. And these days, these years, in our society, it's all about freedom. You need to be able to do what you want. You need to be able to express the way you want, yourself the way you want. You need to have all these freedoms, and I don't think that's the best way. I don't think that's the most ideal thing. I think we should be free, because if you look at like China or something, or the Middle East, where we don't have those freedoms, they don't have those freedoms, that's obviously not ideal, and I'm not talking about that. But I think right now, in our Western civilization, in Europe and in America and whatever, I think there's too much freedom in the way of how people should operate in the world, in society, and in their own individualistic societies, their families, and their lives basically. And I think we as people aren't mature enough to know ourselves how to live. And in the past, Christianity kind of developed the West, and we had this guide in a way to live, And obviously, a lot of things also went wrong. We all know what happened, like with witches and stuff, But there are many things that went wrong, but there was also a lot that went right, because we had kind of a way to live, a guide. And right now, since with the rise from atheism or whatever, those things aren't dominant anymore, and now we are sort of free to do whatever we want, whatever we like. Now, what does this bring to our society? A lot of hookup culture, a lot of misery, a lot of loneliness. People are more separated than ever, in our societies, and that's also has also a lot to do with the internet, of course. It's not like atheism caused all of that, but I think the absence of a sort of guide on how to live, that's integral to a culture or a society, is it's not good for us, because I think a lot of people are basically like kids who want to do a lot of stuff, and we have kind of a grasp of how to live, or what things we desire, or what we want to do, but we don't know it all. And the way to know it all, or the way to know more and to be able to live in the world better, is in order to read and to philosophize and to think about life. That way you can learn more about how to live. But the majority of people don't do that, and so they just, they wing it. They just live a certain way and they learn it on the fly. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it harms the individual and society, because they could be living better, which would be beneficial for society and the individual himself, or herself. And so I think a guide is always very important, and the lack of guide we have had in the past, many years, I don't think it's good. And I think that's what I try to say with, is complete freedom good? No, because we don't know everything. There are reasons for why there are laws, and why we should have a moral code ourselves, which I believe that it's already, a moral code is within us, as long as you're not a psychopath or schizophrenic or whatever. As long as you have a clear mind, you know most things, that stealing is wrong, killing someone for no reason is wrong, but there are many nuances, of course. And since we don't all philosophize and learn and read about life, I think a religion like Christianity could be very beneficial for society. But the laws, the way they are now, are fine, but I would say the laws are breaking down, but there are certain things happening, like with genders and stuff. There's so much freedom for yourself, the individual, that it's harming society, because it is separating people, and it's there's no honor in those things. And I'm not talking about gender specifically, I'm talking also about the hookup culture and stuff, which is the reason why I use it so much as an example, is because for me it's a really clear example of people using their freedom, as in they can have intercourse with whomever they want, and they think that's fun and good and jolly and everything, even though it's actually harmful to themselves and society as a whole, even though they don't maybe know that or realize that. That's why it's such an easy example. But there are many different things that are happening right now that aren't really great for individual and society. And I think that's because of a lack of guides and rules. And I'm not saying it should be like China or Middle East. I think that's way worse, where it's like totalitarian, where it's like completely, oh, you have to follow this. No, of course not. I'm not saying that. I think there should be a little bit more of a guide. And you could say, yeah, should the government enforce that? No, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying that the individual, it can start from the individual starting to place more moral values on themselves. But you could say, okay, what about shame? Well, that's happening more already. Slut shaming and stuff. You could say slut shaming others. No, I don't think that's bad if it's actually just. But I think it should always. I think shaming is not good because it comes from judging negative outlook. It doesn't come from love, and I think we should always try to understand and help these people instead of coming like, oh, you're a slut, and shame them. I think it should always come, okay, why are you doing this? Is there anything you're missing in life? Is there any way I can help? It should come from a place of love, of course, but if it comes from a place of love, like in those small, it should be largely in society, should be largely acknowledge what's right and wrong. And right now it's all messed up. Nobody knows what's right and wrong anymore. And again, I think that could be because of a lack of religion or rules or whatever. But I don't know, it's a conversation I think is very interesting. I think to yourself, the individual, you should be free in what you want to pursue, but not completely. You should know what is right and wrong. You should be able to discern what's right and wrong. And in order to do that, you must study, you must philosophize, you must read, so you can gather this knowledge on what's right and wrong. And therefore you can use that knowledge to apply it to your actions and therefore live in a more fulfilling way, and which is not only better for yourself but also for the world and its society. So I think that's what I want to say. But in the society as a whole, I don't know how that could best be implemented or whatever. I'm not a political guy. I'm more focused on the individual and how you yourself can grow better and live better. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say today, and thanks, and see you later.